Nicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time.
Peace,
I got
peace,
my
peace.
guy, Sim, in the building. What up, Sim?
I'm chilling, man. You?
I'm good, man. I had the day off, so I had some time to go back and rewatch the game. I couldn't watch it in its entirety
Mm,
because I was at work. So I got to go ahead and watch the second quarter and the third quarter, which I missed.
okay.
But I rewatched the whole game so I could give a little bit more insight than I could, than I could last night.
Yeah.
So I figured get you on and let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's
You
talk
know?
about it. Let's do it.
But one of the first things that stood out to me was the shot selection of Carl Anthony Towns, in particular in the first quarter.
Hmm.
Um, but his first five threes of three attempts were about 3 feet behind the line, right? And it's not so much that he's incapable of hitting those shots because he is.
Right.
But I mean, my thing would be, how about you hit one first before what I mean before you start. I think the very first one or the second one, he was in between a screen like and his defender.
Hmm.
But so just to give you a concept of how much space that all three of them were behind the 3 point line. You know what I mean? His
Right.
defender, the screener,
Right.
and him. and,
Behind
and
people. Yeah.
so
And
you know,
I guess my question is that what's being
preached.
preached or taught, right? Shoot it when you feel comfortable. If you have it, shoot it. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know. Maybe that's what's being taught.
Yeah, and that crossed my mind. Like how much of a priority is there between um getting the threes up and actual quality of the threes?
Right.
I remember Monica McNutt had mentioned that in the post game on the MSG channel, and then
Mhm.
she said, and this was the previous game two, honestly. And she said she was gonna ask him when she had the opportunity, but then she got the opportunity and rephrased the
We
question.
kind of rephrased it.
You know what I mean? So I was interested to see what his answer would have been because she
Mhm,
noticed that in the second game in the
mhm,
quality of the 3 point attempts as opposed to like getting the quantity that you want and you're
right,
asking for.
right.
Um, but yeah, that was like one of the main things that stood out early in particularly in the first quarter. Um, the biggest thing we talked about it. I know all the fan bases, all the Nick fan bases talked about it. Some are like don't overreact, and some are just like down on Yabusele. But defensively, it was bad, and it's actually two parts to this because Hakporti only played I think 10 minutes.
Mhm,
Got the start, so I'm wondering how much of it is a belief in Hakporti? Because remember, once Josh Hart came back, he didn't play game two. Now he comes back to start with McBride out, and he still gets minimal minutes. And I don't think he played bad. I think he does make some mistakes, but I think his effort gives him an impact on the floor way more than Yabusele at this point so far. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
maybe it's too early to kind of limit Yabusele's minutes even more, but and again, this goes back to what we was talking about yesterday and not searching, not seeking. What's the terminology? Not chasing wins. You know what I mean, and
right,
sticking with whatever you're trying to build.
right.
But your thoughts on Hukporti getting limited minutes, and then Yabusele, whatever else you want to add about lack of input that you've seen so far?
Yeah. Huck Porty getting limited minutes. You know, I don't know. I think maybe it's just due to inexperience, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think it's really that, the inexperience of the game. Maybe there's some things that um Mike Brown wants him to do that maybe he's not doing yet. And then it's also maybe, maybe it's a sign of about um the big lineup. Maybe teams because Miami a lot of times played, kind of small with Bam sometimes playing center. You know what I'm saying? So, that might make it where Huck Porty can't get as much playing time, when we're playing against teams that do that.
Yeah, and that's something that I didn't really get to pay attention to how many minutes Ware played and how
Mhm.
many minutes they started with the double, they're double big with Bam at
Right.
the 4 and Ware at the 5. And I did see where I'm sure he played more minutes than Hakordi, but I don't know how many minutes he played with Bam in that sense. And because I know Bam did play the 5 a lot, especially down the stretch. But
Yeah. Especially down the stretch.
he could have been trying to match up. I I I, I agree, but that doesn't negate the fact that Hakordi was out there for extended minutes. I felt like, or not extended, but more than Yabusele was out there more than Huck Porty, and I think Huck Porty impacts the game a little bit more.
Right. Right.
How much of the weight issues do you think is the issue with Yabusele right now? Um,
Um, hmm,
as opposed to whatever else it could be, just trying to find his way, and
question.
the shot will
Um,
fall over time.
right. I mean, it could be. It could be the weight issue. Just not able to um the speed of the game, right? Not able to play with the speed of the game, maybe. I don't know. It's just hard to say because it's only been 3 games. I think it's really hard to say, right? Because it's only been 3 games. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, we still need. There still needs to be more. Just more time. Um, to give him time to get into the game, to give him time to um understand what it is that's expected of him, I guess.
Mhm.
You know, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I'll get back to the specifics of this game and stuff. But you
Hmm.
remember how we made these additions before we had a head coach signed,
Hmm.
right? How much if we had Mike Brown earlier, if that was like an immediate signing, do you
Right,
think he fits in the Mike Brown system per se? Like, and to partially answer what I'm saying. What I'm asking you is, I do think the Knicks got him here betting on his 3-point shooting, not
right,
being a fluke. But
right.
do you think he fits Mike Brown's system and he would still be
I
um
don't think he fits Mike Brown's system. I don't. I don't think he. I just Mike to me, Mo fits the system better at that position. right?
Mm.
But because Yabusele has the contract, obviously he's going to play right now. Um, I guess let's see what happens later on in the season because I'm sure Mike Brown at some point is going to say, "Okay, here's the things that I want. Right? Here's the things that I need. With this team." I don't think he fits the system.
Interesting. That's kind of what I was questioning. Because part of our defense has a lot to do with helping and recovering, helping and
Hmm.
switching and rotating. And, and I noticed two times where he had to rotate from in the paint to the 3-point line, and there was no chance. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying the rest of the team did great in that area,
Right.
but the effort from the rest of the team, or the chances of them affecting a shot and getting into the right rotation quick enough was a lot different when he had to do it. And two of them were well, one of them was late in that fourth in a crucial three that kind of sealed the loss for us.
Right.
So that's another thing that kind of stood out. And I don't want to nitpick and pick on him, but he's easily been our worst rotational player so far.
Yeah.
So I do think if that shot turns around,
Mhm.
that'll change things because he is getting open looks from three. Actually, I would argue that the team is getting good shots. I thought we deviated from my ground system a little bit in the first watch. Second
Right.
watch, not so much. Um I think we might have been rushing shots and not being set and necessarily taking good shots. I mean, Shamit tends to fade a little bit sometimes, but I've seen a lot of those on his threes where he's not set, he's leaning. You know,
Um,
that could have to do with the speed, and that's something that you got to kind of figure out. But
the speed and trying to figure out how to play the system, like the one thing that can't be lost, and that I know even myself, I can't get lost with, is that when you're trying to learn something new, it takes a little while before it's second nature, right? So you got to believe that guys are thinking out there a little bit too. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just um, it's just not clicking on all cylinders like that right now. You know what I mean? Guys are thinking, guys are trying to figure out um where should I be? What do I do next? And some guys get it quicker than others. And maybe Yabusele is one of those guys that it takes a little while before he fully understands what his role is and where he's supposed to be and which shots he's supposed to take. You know what I'm saying? So it's I've been tough on him over the past couple of days. I know I have, but it's not lost on me that he's probably still learning and figuring out how he's supposed to play. So I'm not totally just like get rid of him right now, but I ain't got to front. I'm still kind of like, you know, um, does he fit? I'm still asking that question and still wondering if he fits.
um,
You know, but
his
but but
rebounding. No, go ahead. My bad.
but I think the shot selection that we're seeing from everybody, um, is all part of the kind of part of the process and figuring out, um, how to play under Mike Brown's system and how to play efficiently under Mike Brown's system. You know what I mean?
No
So,
doubt.
so I do think it's all part of the process.
Yeah, and for the most part, I don't think a lot of the team has been taking bad shots. Like I
Hmm.
think last night it was more Carl Anthony Towns taking the bad shots. Um, it just wasn't. They just weren't. They're just not making open shots or just rushing some shots overall. Macau was phenomenal. I thought maybe we should have leaned on him more. I did notice something in the second watch that I would have misspoken had I spoke on it earlier,
Hmm.
because when he took Brunson out in the third quarter, he left Mikhail in, and Mikhail kind of he had a great game. That's when he missed his opportunities though. When Brunson was off the floor closing out that third quarter,
Right.
you know what I mean. But he definitely gave Mikhail that opportunity to kind of hold it down and maybe clean some things up while Brunson got a rest, a breather. I can't really argue about the whole bringing Brunson in earlier or playing him more or whatever the case. I did off the first watch. I didn't
Hmm.
even, and that was more because the broadcaster brought it up. You know what I mean? But just watching the game, I think it wasn't like it got that out of control. Like I thought he brought Brunson in at a good time, enough time to you know, bring us back and will us to victory. It just we just couldn't pull it out.
Right.
And we had a lot of turnovers in that fourth that really sealed the deal when we were in an offensive position to kind of push back, but some offensive
Hmm.
turnovers, some bad fouls, and
Hmm.
it was all she wrote. Um, but yeah, that's what I got from the rewatch. Clarkson, I think he had good shots too. He just couldn't hit nothing. The one thing I will
Yeah.
say about him,
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't hitting anything at all.
I know a lot of people are down on him too, and Yabusele is in front of him in the order of where people throwing darts. So he's kind of getting a little bit of a pass. But I hear the rumblings. I
Hmm.
think he's taking good shots. I'm not really concerned with Clarkson. I think he's going to find his way ultimately. Like if he gets the shots he got tonight, or pardon me, last night. I said tonight because I just finished watching it. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. He'll knock those down. And the one good thing I will say is, like, he had 8 points. Most of that was at the free throw line. Like he gets to the line. Like he knows how to still get some points on the board. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even with having a bad performance. So
Yeah. The thing about it is just kind of, he's a little wonky a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Um, he can be a little bit wonky, I think. Uh, he can look a little out of control when he's out there doing things, but he does create havoc. And I think it's going to take a little time for you talk about Deuce, Josh Hart, even Tyler Kolek. It's going to take time for them a little bit to get used to how he plays. I think, um, and it's going to take him a little bit getting used to everybody else on the team too. And I think he's thinking a little bit. He wants to be part of what's going on. He wants to be, and they talked about it a little bit in the telecast, right? He wants to be part of this winning culture here, right? And to be a big part of it. So I think he could be pushing a little bit because this might be the best team he's ever played on, right? Um, yeah, this might be the best team he's ever played on. Is probably his best chance to win a championship, right? So maybe he's pressing a little bit. And
that's
now that
fair.
he's had a rough start, you know what I'm saying? He might be kind of like even pressing more. He might have been pressing from the beginning because, I'm in New York. I got a chance to win the championship, da 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 da. And then now he's kind of had a rough start, so he might be, pressing even a little bit more.
But e- even with that being said, what I like about it is he's still being aggressive, right? Like,
Right.
like even me, this might have been like he had missed the shot and just went back up and tapped the rebound and got the N1 or whatever. That might have been his first bucket in
Mhm.
the game,
Mhm.
um, or his only bucket in in the game. But just that resiliency to keep fighting, even though you missing shots and you're not he's not being shy or regressing, because that would
Right.
be a problem for me.
Right.
Um, Josh Hart treats him like Brunson when they in the second unit. I noticed that. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
he's the first option for Josh Hart if he can't get all the way to the rim on a possession, or if he's doing his driving kick. Um, he found him a couple times. He ain't Clarkson ain't make the shot, but you know what I mean. I was like, all right, I see that connection. That's some chemistry that's in the works.
Mhm.
We'll see more of that during the
And and
season.
and and that's what it is right there. Like, all of these things are going to be, um it's gonna grow. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna get better. It's gonna get easier for these guys to play, right? One thing that I did see, I do think Mikal Bridges looks more comfortable. He just looks comfortable. And that happens after being on a team. You're not the new guy now, right? So you have some things under your belt. You have things that you can teach the new guys that's on the basketball team. So I think he looks more comfortable out there on the floor, and where he wants to get his shots. And maybe part of that is due to Mike Brown just, encouraging him, being, you know, being just being a supporter of him. And maybe him and Tibbs didn't get along. I don't know. And I mean, Tibbs, everyone has always said that Tibbs is a supporter of the players and supports the players and encourages the players and all of that stuff. But maybe he did that, but maybe their personalities didn't mesh or something, and maybe he meshes a little better with Mike Brown, which makes him more comfortable. But he looks more comfortable to me out there on the floor. That's what I'm seeing from Bridges right now.
I mean, one of the two things that I noticed with both of them, they've been the most vocal when him and Mikal and Deuce have been the most vocal when asked by anybody about the differences in the experiences between the coaches.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they give the most details and without without crossing any lines. But I mean, both
Mhm.
both of them have spoke about honestly just being able to communicate or
Mhm.
their voice being listened to and they didn't give details on specifically what they're referencing, but they give input and it's received.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it, I'm sure that's part of the change you see in them. Deuce's absence. I know a lot of people been saying, oh, that if we're relying on Deuce, you know what I mean, then it's a problem. The bench is not as good as we thought, and well, Deuce has been a staple on this team, right?
Yeah.
Second, yeah, he's right behind Mitch as far as longest tenured, I believe. Um, he's gone through everything here. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So he's gonna be comfortable in a different
Yeah.
way than Clarkson just coming in, Yabusele just coming in,
Right.
Shamit, you know, just squeaking in for a
Yeah.
second year, you know what I mean, or a half a year if you want to be honest. Like, so yeah, I think he's our most important bench player, period.
Yeah.
You know what I
And,
mean?
and
Like,
I think what people are saying when they say that about Deuce, I think they're not. I don't think it's a. I think it comes off and maybe sounds like it's oh, Deuce isn't that good. If we're relying on Deuce, then there's a problem. I think maybe what people are trying to say is we're supposed to have a deep enough bench to deal with players being out. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's what I think people are probably saying when they say that about Deuce. So I don't know
I
if it's
mean,
necessarily like, um, you know, oh, Deuce isn't that good. I think it's more of
but
you know, we're
but if
supposed
you,
our bench, you know, we're supposed to have a new bench. We're supposed to be, this good of a team now because we got this bench. And if Deuce, who's not one of our top four players, if we can't win because we don't have Deuce, then how good is the bench really? I kind of think it's maybe that.
I get that, but if you watch the game, these guys weren't hit. Our bench wasn't
Yeah,
hitting
I know.
shots.
I know.
You know what I
I
mean?
know.
So like, and on top of that, I think
So that,
part of the
so that,
reason I think Deuce's absence was missed
mm-hmm.
was not necessarily offensive production, because Deuce could have a bad shooting night or a good shooting night. You
Right.
know what I mean? But he's gonna impact the floor defensively,
Yeah.
which nobody in that second unit, none of our new additions. You know what I mean? That's one of our concerns. Like nobody, they didn't think about defense
Yeah.
when they brought in those two guys. You know what I mean?
Right. But and I think that's part of the I think that's part of the argument. You know what I'm saying? You know, like our bench is supposed to be good enough that we don't have to rely on just one guy from the bench. You know what I'm saying? We can have someone not other guys to be able to step up. You know what I mean?
And even Shamit has been iffy with his shooting, but his defense has been pretty good. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So I'll give him his props on that. Sim, I don't know if you could see the comments because I can't on
Yeah, let's see
my
what we
phone,
got.
but yeah, I appreciate that.
Let's see what we got going here.
Shout out to the chat, by the way. I'm not ignoring y'all, but um again, I'm on my phone right now, and
Yeah. Fred Wong. Oh, not that one right there. Fred Wong. I don't always agree with Fred Wong on it. Me and Fred go back and forth. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. We have a new coach and a new system. Mike Brown has 82 games to get this team ready for the playoffs and championship push. There's no need to panic. We have a tough early schedule, and we're 2-1. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I don't think anyone's panicking about the team right now. I do. I think there's some definite concerns about some guys, and I think they're legitimate concerns. I don't think there's panic, but I do think there's some concerns, and I think they're legit. Yabusele is one of them. I think that's a legit concern. I am willing to, let's see what what happens in the future, but I think that's a legitimate concern. Um, Jordan Clarkson, yeah, he'll be okay. I don't know if there's a legit concern there with Jordan Clarkson. I think he's okay.
I got a question about Yabusele. Do you think? Because I always thought he's better suited at the four, right?
Hmm.
But do you think he may be better suited at the five? Because number one, it's probably an easier thing to learn in this Mike Brown system, right? As far as your responsibilities at the five are probably lesser. Well, I would say definitely lesser from everything they talk about playing the four for Mike Brown and playing the five for Mike Brown.
Right.
So even though he may not be a shot blocker or at a plus defender, it may be easier because it's less responsibility in that role of
Hmm.
guarding the five and using your attributes at that position than it is learning all the tendencies that you gotta learn when you're in that four position.
Yeah.
Because that's
That it
like I
might
think he
be.
played a lot at the five last night, which I think was the defensive glares were they were more glaring the
Okay.
defensive lapses.
Or
Um,
is it a issue with him maybe having trouble guarding fours because of his he don't have the greatest, because of his size.
mm,
You know what I mean?
that's interesting. I wouldn't trade him just yet. I know I seen somebody in the chat. I seen somebody in the chat ask if I wanted to trade him. Well, I mean, at
Yeah,
this
no,
point,
I ain't ready to trade him yet either. I ain't ready to trade him yet. I'm not ready
but
to trade him yet.
I'm not giving up on this. I'm not. You know what I mean? I got the season in perspective. Juan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going crazy. I'm just pickpointing some glares that I see and trying to see how we go from there.
Mhm.
I'm more excited than anything else, and I'm more waiting for us to be, 100% healthy to really see what where who we are and where
Yeah,
we could go.
yeah.
Like, um, anything else in there?
Let's see what else we got in here. Fred Wong. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Frank actually fits good on this team running the bench. Okay. Listen, I was a Frank supporter for a very long time. He just didn't have the confidence. Sorry, Fred. He just didn't have the confidence. Dwayne, Yabusele is too heavy, too much weight. He's not athletic enough for Mike Brown's system. He needs to get in the gym and do cardio running and biking to drop about 15 to 20 pounds.
I actually was gonna ask you that yesterday. Do you think that's even a feasible task to look? And 20 is a lot, but even 10 to 15 pounds in season. I'm not saying it can't be done because I know it can, but
Mhm.
that's got to be tough to do that while not just from playing. You know what I mean? But do that while playing.
Right.
Like basically, you're not gonna do that from just playing basketball. You got to
Nah,
be doing that
you
in the
gotta be
off time. In
yeah,
the
and you gotta be
meantime,
eating correctly, like all of those things.
so that's a tough
Mm,
task to do. How
yeah.
plausible do you think that is for him to like accomplish?
It's plausible for him to accomplish if they have a trainer with him, right, and they give him a strict regimen and they say, "This is what we need you to do this season." Right? There was somebody that the Knicks had, and they had I don't remember who it was.
Don't say it, said because somebody in the chat yesterday said he was giving Michael Sweetney vibes.
Maybe it was Michael Sweetney, but whoever it was, maybe it was Mike Sweetney, whoever it was, they had this, and maybe it was Eddie Curry, but they had this regimen, they had this plan for him to lose weight and da 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 and da da da, and it was kind of publicized a little bit. It might have been one of those two, either
I
Eddie,
mean,
Eddie
if it was
Curry
Curry,
or
it might have
Mike
worked. If it was Sweetney, there's no way I think it worked because that man blew
Sweetney.
up.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Mike Sweetney
Shout out
had
to him.
mad talent too. Mad talent. You know who else? This is off topic. Uncle Julio sent me a reel. You know who blew up like really, really big?
Who's that?
Eric Snow.
Yeah, I did see him.
I was like,
I did see him.
yo, that was crazy. I was like, damn. He got huge, bro. I mean, hopefully everything's okay with him, but he got
I
huge.
mean, some people think it's hard to stop. You know what I mean? Stop going to the gym and all that when you leave the league, and some people they like, yo, I don't got to train no more,
Right.
or just
Right. I
eat.
don't gotta train. Nah, I'm gonna just do it. Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
crazy. I don't know. Hopefully, you know, it's gonna come down to his mindset. You know what I'm saying? If he realizes that, okay, I'm in this system and this system ain't working for me, um, you know, then maybe he'll just be like, all right, I got to get in shape. It's gonna come down to him and his mindset, though. You
See,
know,
these are the type of questions that I would like to have insight on. Like, um, especially like I don't want anybody to be disrespectful about it, but if they know if there's a reason why he's playing out of his game weight, or is this
what
his
was
game weight?
what was
You
his
know what I
game
mean?
weight? What was his game weight last year?
I mean, I don't know that per se, but we've heard the people in the chat saying, "Oh, he's the third heaviest player in the league," and just the reference of it's on record that he's playing over his game weight. So
How do we know that he's the like, where's that coming from? I hadn't
eh,
seen it. Where's it coming from?
I've seen it throughout the chats over the course of the last
I
couple
mean,
of games.
but where are they getting it from? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But he does look heavy.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I am a little concerned with Josh Hart and his finger. I'm gonna keep reiterating that. You said something last night. I think this was off air, but he needs to just attack the basket and keep doing that, sticking with that strategy.
yeah. So look, okay, so here it is. New York Post, 7 days ago. Gershon Yabusele is entering the season with considerably more heft than last year. The Knicks' new forward weighs 283 pounds, 18 pounds more than he was with the 76ers a season ago. That's a lot of weight.
That
I
is.
did not ask him to put weight on or take off weight, Mike Brown said. That's something that our performance people talk to him about. Yabusele was one of the key offseason additions. Da, 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 da. Yabusele is also one of the heaviest players in the league, alongside players like Zach Edey, 305, um, Nurkic, 290, and Jokic, 284.
Mm.
Those guys have, well, I don't know about Zach Edey, but Nurkic and Jokic each have height too.
So does
Seven
Edie.
footers. Huh?
Edie's seven. He's 87-1.
Okay. So then, so those guys, 7 footers. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah, I ain't gonna harp on it, but it's a little. I'm gonna say a little concerning and a little disheartening if you know what I mean. Like, how do you not come in the best shape of your life, and how does that happen while you were playing? You were just playing Euro Cup. You know what I mean?
right.
Like you had a shorter break than most people.
Yeah. Yeah. Got 2 super chats here. One,
Okay.
Jason Benjamin. He said, I personally think fans need to give Clarkson and Yabu some time. Clarkson seems to be pressing slash trying too hard, and Yabu has played a lot of ball this summer. Um, but if he played that much ball, shouldn't he be in better shape? That's my question. If
And
he was
more
playing that
rhythm.
much and more rhythm, yeah, and he did play a lot of ball. But what did he do in between time? Did he just say, you know what, I'm chilling? But wow, 18 pounds. And I mean, I guess it's possible if you're not watching your diet and you just, eating Mickey D's. You know what I mean? Jason Benjamin again. Thank you for the super chat. He said 2-on-1 with the fourth best defense. Um, he said 2-on-1 with the fourth best defense. Fourth best defense, 22nd worst offense right now. You know?
Well, I mean,
So,
appreciate the JB the super chats. I will say the offense. I believe the offense is gonna come along. You know what I mean? Like as bad as we're shooting, and we've seen this stretch from guys before.
mhm.
We know that's not gonna be. You know what I mean? We know that's gonna get better. We we I believe it's gonna get better. You know what I mean? Even in Yabusele's case, I
Right.
think he's gonna start hitting,
I
getting
think it'll get
looking
better.
and
I
hitting
think
the
it'll
shot.
get better too. I'm just saying, if we can say about the fourth best defense, you can also say about the offense at this point in time, because
Mhm.
both of them are 3 games in. The defense and the offense. Um, the hope is that the offense gets better, and then the defense stays.
Facts. You talked about something that was concerning after the first two games, and us blowing leads, and this was this was the first time that we played from behind, right, and had to try to catch up and get a lead. Um, which do you think they go hand in hand?
What is that?
Um, like your concerns, because I felt like I was less concerned with us blowing the leads, right, and obviously preference is always going to be to play with the lead than not, right?
Hmm.
Um, but do you think they go hand in hand, the blowing the lead and trying to fight back? You know what I mean? And because I mean, in this case, obviously we weren't able to come back. I think we cut it to within 5, and then then we had a foul, and then a offensive foul that kind of put the game out of reach, back to back
Hmm.
possessions. Um, but how do you correlate the way we lost with what what we saw in the first two games?
Uh, Shooting, I think, correlates with both of them. You know, um, with losing the lead and coming
I'm sure.
and not being able to come back. You know what I'm saying? I think shooting is the common denominator between both of those. Because even when, like, even we had big leads, but we'd go turnovers maybe too. We'd go through some spells where we're shooting a low percentage and turning the ball over, right? And so it gives teams the opportunity to get back into the game. Not being able to come back. I mean, when you look at last night, poor shooting percentages, 15 turnovers. So I do think those are common denominators with both.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
agree.
positive the shooting is going to get better. No doubt about that. The shooting will get better.
Um, we got the Bucks tomorrow night. I don't know if you're gonna be able to do a pregame show.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know how it's going to go, because I was supposed to be driving to Maryland tonight, but now I'm taking a flight. So my flight leaves at 5:30 this morning, and then it to get to Maryland, and then I'll leave Maryland at like 10:20. So when I'm leaving, the game will be just getting over probably when I'm leaving.
mhm. When you
Yeah.
getting on a plane.
I get on the plane at 9.
Oh, okay.
I gotta be there at 9. I gotta be there at 9 because I gotta drop my car rental off at 9. So I'll just be in the airport watching the game until it's time for me to get on a flight.
I
So
got you.
when I board the flight, the game will be in the fourth
Oh,
quarter, or it
oh,
probably be over by the time I board the
yeah, it
flight.
probably go over.
Yeah. So I don't know. What I
Um,
might do, I might just jump on and do something from my phone really quick for 20 minutes after I land, which would be like 11:30. Might do something like that.
all right. Well, hit me up. If I don't get to see the game, I'll definitely be able to see the highlights by then. So, you know what I mean. Hit me up, and I'll let you know if I'm available. I know I got a long day tomorrow. I'll be at work, but I'm gonna miss this game for the most part.
Okay. Now Jason with another super chat, appreciate it. He said
Sure.
Yabo is in shape. He needs his shot to fall. I guess it depends on, you know, uh, the 18 pounds is the 18 pounds of fat or 18 pounds of muscle? We don't know.
That the reason I tend to feel like he is overweight is because he seems slow
Yeah,
in his rotations, right?
yeah.
So shed a couple of pounds, I think maybe he can move a little bit faster.
Mhm.
I don't think the weight has any correlation to his shot. I agree. If his shot
Yeah,
is fall, I've been saying this all 3 games. If his shot is falling, nobody's really talking about his weight
that's true.
or even some of his defensive woes
Right.
will be
Let me ask this.
less talked about.
What if his team in the summer asked him to gain some weight
Mm.
because they wanted him to play a certain style of basketball?
That that's
You never know.
that's very
Yeah,
possible. I,
it's a valid
I,
point. You never
And
know.
and the weight will probably help him more at that 5 position, which I don't
Yeah,
really necessarily like him at, but you know what I mean? The weight would probably help him more there than at that 4 position.
right.
And I think he's been playing more at the 4 than at the 5, other than the last night.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So I think last game was probably his longest stint playing the 5
yeah,
on the Knicks.
right.
So
Ivory said, "I look like a youngin with that camera angle." You know, I don't know what's going on, Ivory, but I looked in the mirror the other day, my hair was a little bit darker, and I told my lady, I was like, "Yo, my hair looks a little darker."
I,
And then the other day, she was going to work, and we was on a chat, and she was like, "Why's your mustache look so dark?" She thought I put some dye in it.
Dying.
I was like, "I don't know. It just is." I was like, "I didn't
I,
even realize that it looked darker." She's like, "It looks
I,
mad dark."
Slim,
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You know it's a proven fact that when you're stressed out, the grays come out
Okay.
and you
You
start
want
looking
yeah,
older. I'm
yeah.
telling you, when you happy, when you found that happiness,
Younger.
you
Yeah,
start
you
getting
know what I mean? Start
younger,
getting younger again. I'm eating the right foods. I got the right things going on, so, maybe my body is responding that way.
man. I'm
Maybe,
telling
maybe it's the Benjamin Button effect.
you.
I don't know.
Shout out to Megan, man. I'm telling you. You get engaged, you start getting younger.
820 Light said, "Boom, boom, juice."
See, I wasn't gonna go.
Uh,
I wasn't
see?
gonna go there, but
I mean,
not.
alright, that's wild.
But Sim, I appreciate you jumping in with me and executive producing while I'm having my
Yeah,
technical difficulties.
no
But
problem, no problem.
um yeah, definitely appreciate it. Shout out to the chat, JB with the super chats. Appreciate you, the replay gang. I'm gonna keep trying to throw little content out until I get my stuff together, but it shouldn't be too much longer.
What did Donald say? You think he's slick leaving us dumbfounded, talk about he engaged. I don't know. What you mean? Leaving y'all dumbfounded? Ah, that's I don't know. I don't understand.
There's nothing tricky about it.
Ain't nothing tricky about it, bro. What it is, there's nothing tricky about it, you know?
um,
No
you know,
tricks.
more announcements when necessary.
Word. Yeah, for real.
But
Oh. Oh, you know what? Just this is off topic with Knicks and all that.
yeah,
Big L album comes out Friday, right?
okay. I
Big
I, I
L?
I was I
I'm
wasn't
thinking
sure. I knew I didn't even check any albums this past weekend, so
yeah,
yeah, I knew this weekend I was gonna have a bunch to look out for anyway. But
yeah,
oh yeah, that's number
think
one on the list.
yeah, I think the Big L album comes out Friday. Looking forward to that. That Big L and Nas joint is tough. Looking forward to that.
I seen a couple of people talking about how that verse that he got on the Big L single sound like he might have doubled down on his Jim Jones.
Oh, yeah, I had to check it out a little deeper.
They was like, rest in peace, Big L. They was like, he can't come in and refute any, anything about who Dot's talking
Mm,
about. So
right. Man, that's
people
true.
just got,
Yeah.
uh,
Donald
but
Cannon
yeah,
said
I'm definitely looking
versus.
forward to that.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, we was literally just talking
So
about how we both missed it or whatever. Um, and honestly, I didn't know Lil Wayne wasn't there, so you know, I probably would have been disappointed just off that if I did catch it.
oh word. Right.
You know what I mean? Like Wayne wasn't there. Supposedly, I guess Turk wasn't there, and Wayne said he wasn't going if everybody wasn't going. Turk wasn't invited. Let's say that.
Mm,
So Wayne said it gotta be everybody or I ain't going.
right.
So
Yeah.
salute to him for that. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
some integrity or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's salute to the
I mean,
people
I don't know
who did it.
how many people was on it. Can the verses come back like it did? Like, you know,
I don't think so because I feel like this is what I'll say. I feel like it was a time that when you couldn't get outside, I thought it was
right,
most prevalent.
right.
You know what I mean? COVID, it was definitely something that helped through COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the right ones, if they're a concert, you know what I mean, where you doing a performance on it, I think it could still work. You,
Right.
you, you know what I mean? If you, but it's got to be the right ones. Everyone is not going to work. It's not like people are not going to show up based off of it being a versus. It's going to have to be those matchups that
Those
bring
that
bring the people out.
people. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I thought this was one of them. I thought, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't my cup of tea, but I
Mm-hmm.
felt like there's enough fans of both of those teams that it probably, you know what I mean? Like that probably performed well. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or had a good reception.
820 Light said, and thank you for the super chat. He said for the computer repair fund,
Hey,
Yahoo was better to pick and roll.
I appreciate that, my brother, because that's exactly where it's going. I appreciate that. And other improvements that I'm working on as well. But yeah, I'm trying to get this phone line soon, Sim. I think that's gonna be the the next transition.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you, Sim. Get
No
some
doubt.
rest. I know you got a flight in
Yeah. I'm about to
a couple
eat,
hours.
gonna catch me a little nap, and then, get on the flight.
And yeah, hit me up. Safe travels. Hit me up tomorrow. Let me know
All right.
what we doing. And if it's 11:30, like you said, the later will probably be the better for me tomorrow
All right.
because I anticipate a long day at work.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. Salute.
All right.
Appreciate you,
No
Tim.
doubt. Appreciate it,
Shout out
bro.
to the chat. Appreciate the super chat. Who's this last one?
That was
Uh
829.
appreciate you, my brother. Replay gang. Until next time. Yo Black is time. We out of here.
Peace.
Peace.